Oh, hello YouTubers! Just having a little ride out on the bike today on this glorious February day. Temperature's bloody, well, it's easily 15 degrees anyway. In fact, I'm in my summer gear, jeans and a light jacket. And I've only got a t-shirt on underneath, so... and I feel fine, unbelievable, like. I believe in some places in the UK it's 20 degrees. Western Wales. So yeah, I'm just, I've got the bike going in for a service on Thursday, ready for the new season. So I thought I'd empty some of the petrol out of the tank, you know, because I'll need to lift the tank to get at the airbox and all that sort of paraphernalia, so just to save them a bit of trouble. I'm not even sure how much petrol I've got in, to be quite honest. Anyway, so I've got nothing really to talk about. A couple of new bits on the bike, I suppose. You know, I've got new mirrors and, you know, stuff like that. But I'll head out to Carlisle Airport and have a little look at those widgets, those little changes and that. But apart from that, there's really not much to talk about, unless I want to talk about world events, and especially what's going on here in the UK. Freaking unbelievable. Like, I never wanted to ever make me vlogs about politics or anything like that, you know what I mean? But at the moment, the world's gone mad, you know? Brexit, for example. Now, I voted to leave the EU, and when I voted to leave the EU, I voted to leave the EU. I didn't vote to leave the EU with a deal. I didn't vote to leave the EU with, or half in, half out, anything like that. I voted to leave the EU. You know, because on the ballot paper it says, do you want to leave or remain? And I said I wanted to leave. Because I have my own opinions on why I did that. I don't really need to express them to anybody else, but I will here. And the simple fact is, I think that the EU is a failed institution, you know, and it's becoming, for want of a better word, fascist. Now, I'm not talking about the people of Europe, I'm talking about the organisation, the European Union. They have no interest in the people of the EU, no interest at all. They only have interest in themselves, and that's my opinion, and that's just the way it goes. You know, and you know, I hear people say, you know, the argument, well, you know, if you want to change the EU, you've got to be in it, you know, and you can only change it from the inside and all that bollocks. In my opinion, bollocks. But you know, that would be like Neville Chamberlain thinking he could get peace in our time, or Anne Frank, you know, joining the Nazi party to change it from within. It just isn't going to happen. They have too many vested interests. So that's my rant on the EU. But what's happening at the moment in the UK, you know, where the people voted, I don't know, it was a fairly close vote, you know, but it was still 52% of the British public voted to leave the EU, and what should be happening is we should be leaving the EU. Now, I know the government keeps saying, yeah, we're leaving on the 29th regardless, 29th of March that is, but you can guarantee it's not going to happen. There are so many scenarios being bandied about that it's going to be a different scenario to just leaving. So there's that. We've got a bit of a yellow vest movement going on with regards to that at the moment. And I like the yellow vests. You know, obviously they get infiltrated by people with other agendas, you know, anarchists and what have you. Especially in France, you know. And I've seen videos on YouTube where protesters, you know, pal, protesters in mid-France seem completely different to those in the in the main cities, you know, where in the main cities there seems to be a lot of violence going on, eh? Anyway, so we've got that going on. And then there's the mainstream media in the UK. And I say the UK, obviously I can't speak for other mainstream medias like in America and stuff. But there was a rally at the weekend that Tommy Robinson had organised, and you've probably heard of Tommy Robinson. He's the founder of the EDL, although he's no affiliation to that organisation anymore. And I have respect for Tommy Robinson. You know, he's not a racist, but he keeps getting branded a racist. He's not far right, but he keeps getting branded far right, and it kind of makes you wonder what the problem is that the media have with him. You know, he talks about Islam and the problems with that. We all know that there's problems with religion. You know, it doesn't need to be Islam, although I think Islam is, you know, there's some pretty, what's the word, without offending anybody, some pretty radical ideas compared to, say, like Masonry Christian like I am. You know, I'm a Church of England I was brought up as. Not that I'm religious or anything. But he keeps getting branded as racist, far right and all this sort of carry on just because he feels that Islam is a radical, you know, it preaches radical stuff. You know, radical in the sense that they are, you know, all, you know, have power over other religions, and anybody who believes in other religions or doesn't believe in God is inferior to them and stuff, you know. So anyway, he gets called a fascist for believing that, you know, and a racist and a bigot, and, you know, and all he's basically saying is, you know, there is a problem, eh? And because of that radicalness in Islam, there's a lot of people who follow it that are doing some pretty radical things, like the child grooming and all that. You know, anybody in the right mind, you know, wouldn't find that abhorrent. You know, the gangs of Muslim men are, you know, raping white and Sikh children. You know, it's wrong, eh? So anyway, so I can't understand. But anyway, there was a total media blackout. What had happened is there was a programme in Britain called Panorama who tried to stitch him up, but he wound up stitching them up, eh? So, you know, that was what the demonstration was all about. But anyway, there was a total media blackout about it, and there has been a total media blackout about it, which is, you know, it's strange, eh? You'd have thought other, you know, media companies would have jumped on that, like, you know, to bombard the BBC. But of course the BBC is funded by the taxpayer in the form of a licence fee. You know, they don't get advertising or anything like that, and I used to really respect the BBC, and especially programmes like Panorama and other stuff of that ilk that you know, were educational, basically, you know, because there's so little education on the telly anymore. You know, it's all bloody X Factors and, you know, crap like that, eh? You know, where there could be educating people with education programmes and what have you. And there's hardly any of that anymore. It's ridiculous. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there, and I'll just show you how the bike's looking just now. Got a bit of driver training going on here. So that's how she's looking. Yeah, not a lot of changes since I last posted, I don't think. I've changed out all the silver stuff. I've put white covers on the bike there. and I've put black pillion handles on, but that's about it. And the black mirrors, of course, they are the better mirrors. They're way better than the chrome ones, especially from the point of view of seeing behind you there. So anyway, I'm going to have a cigarette and then I'll get back to you. Oh yeah, Tommy Robinson. It's pretty damning stuff on the government, like, it has to be said, you know, the way that they've gone after him. And not only the government, but the mainstream media as well. You know, the guy was imprisoned without, you know, trial by jury. And almost slung, what's the word, fed to the wolves? Slung to the wolves, whatever. In that a lot of our prisons are literally run by the inmates now, and particularly gangs of Muslims, you know, radical Muslims, and they put him in one of the worst prisons in the UK, even though he was in a prison, you know, that was safer originally. Within a matter of days, they sent him to a prison that was literally run by radical Muslims. You know, so I don't know what's going on there. You know, it's you know, if they can do that to somebody these days, then there's something really sinister going on now. And Antifa, you know, Antifa, them anti-fascists. Yeah, they're of what I've seen of them, they're fascist without the National Socialism. You know what I mean? The way that they act is it's scary, crazy. You know, it's like the far right used to act. Now I say the far right, I'm not labelling Tommy Robinson as far right or anything, but it's mental what's going on, absolutely mental. So yeah, anyway, that's me rant over with politics and all that rubbish. I never ever wanted to make any of my vlogs about politics or things that were going on in the world, but you know, I just wanted to talk about the story of me getting back into biking. Speaking of which, I'm absolutely loving it. And I was down at my local bike shop the other day, KC Superbikes in Carlisle, and I was looking at one of those GSXS 750s, and I think if I can scrape the money together, I think I'll get one of those, you know. I like this year's model, the white one. Kind of like white bikes because, well, you know, you can see them better there. We'll head up to Brampton. Yeah, but these mirrors are much better than the chrome ones from the point of view of how much you can see behind you. You know, I'm well happy with them. I'm well happy with the bike in completely. Like, you know, I might not even bother, you know, with the GSX 750. Well, not for a short while anyway. I really love riding this bike. It's just lovely, you know. I'm sure the SVs will be exactly the same, you know, to ride as well. But it's just such a fun little bike to ride. Now, it's not a massive step up on the GSX 750S. It's 100 and odd horsepower, 104 I think it is, compared to the 70 odd that this is. So it's not a massive jump. It's a big jump, but it's not a massive jump. And I don't think I'd go up to 1,000, you know what I mean? Some of those, you know, 1000cc bikes are just the rad, man. You know, like, I like a bike that I can rev, you know what I mean? You know, I'd be afraid to pull the throttle back on something like a 1000. So, yeah, certainly at the moment anyway. And I think a 750 would just be nice. So if I do go for it, that's what I'll be getting. But I might just, you know, wait a long while before I do that, because it's a great little bike, this. I love this little bike. Of course, it's starting to look a bit dated now. You know, the Gladiuses and the SV, I suppose, as well. Obviously, it's had a bit of a facelift with the new SV. But when you hold it against other bikes that are out there, you know, with how angular bikes are looking now, they look like bloody Transformers, half of them. You know, they do look a little bit dated, eh? But having said that, you know, retro bikes are quite popular these days. You see a lot of retro bikes about the spot. But yeah, no, it's a grand bike. Grand bike. So it's got about 6,500 miles on it at the moment, so I asked them to do a 7,500 mile service, which is it's you know, it's a more major service. Like, I thought it involved checking valve clearances and stuff like that, and I said that to the bloke. I says it'll probably need valve clearances, you know, because obviously they won't want to bring it straight in and you know, while it's hot and stuff, so they need it in the day before. But he says no, that's not due until 14,000 miles, I think he said. So I was almost certain it was strangely, almost certain it needed valve clearances at 7.5, but evidently not, eh? Anyway. What a fantastic day. Unbelievable. I'll be heading out this way shortly, actually. Once I get back, I'll be taking the dog out for a walk. I'll be going into them woods there, Gelt Woods. He loves having a walk around Gelt Woods. He's daft on squirrels. Grey squirrels, of course, not the red ones. Although I'm sure he'd chase a red squirrel if he's seen one, but you don't see many red squirrels round here, unfortunately. Rare as hen's teeth. Yeah, but yes, I just, you know, if anybody's thinking of getting back into biking and they're thinking, you know, what sort of bike should I get? Don't overlook the Gladius because people say that it's a girl's bike and, you know, because of the way it looks. It's a fantastic bike. Of course, if you're worried about that sort of thing, get an SV, whether it be an old one, you know, the one that had the half fairing on it, or a lot of them did, the S model did anyway. You know, pretty much the same engine. You know, get similar write-ups. You know, people are surprised at how good they are. You know, get the new SV. But the Gladiuses are going, you know, reasonably cheap, eh? Probably because of the, you know, the reputation as a girl's bike, I suppose. You know, so they've got a limited market, eh? You know, and you can pick up a really low mileage one, you know, for less than £3 grand. You know, it's a pretty ideal bike and all. You know, they're fantastic little bikes. And like I think I've said it before in one of my vlogs, you know, I had the MT3 prior to this, and I nearly bought the Gladius, and I wish I had now, You know, I would have saved a little bit of money doing that. And don't get us wrong, the MT is a good bike. It's a bit brutal from the point of view of I hate bikers that don't acknowledge you, but there you go. Yeah, it's a good bike. It's certainly a very, what's the word? Forgiving. Is forgiving the right word? Not that I've done anything stupid on it, like, but it just feels so neutral to ride. You know, flickable. You know, it's not particularly heavy. The seat height is quite low, so that's not to say that it's no good for tall people. You know, I'm 6'2" myself, and like I have put the higher seat on, which is only like 2 centimeters higher. That's an inch higher. Excuse me. And it does feel a little bit less cramped with that higher seat on, but even with the lower seat on, it wasn't too bad, like. Yeah, great little bike. Love it, loving it. Well, yeah, if you're thinking about getting into biking and stuff, wondering what sort of bike to get, of course it depends on your own taste. You know, you might want something a bit more sporty, you know, something with a fairing, you know, that sort of thing, or maybe something retro, you know, in which case the Gladius, from a style point of view, probably won't suit you. It's like the power, or the, you know, where the power is in the rev range, it's so useful. Like, you know, up to about 8,000 revs, it's really chomping at the bit. Like, in most of the gears, it's chomping at the bit. And if you get on the twisties in 4th and 5th gear, it's just, you know, it's just exhilarating, eh? It's a lovely bike. Yeah, so I would highly recommend, well, any of the SV line, I think. Or certainly the fuel injected ones. And from a point of view fuel injection, you know, the throttle response it's really good. You know, it's not jerky like the MT was. Well, we're talking about the 660cc MT3 with this, like, you know, that was either on or off. You know, so it was a little bit difficult to ride in that respect. You have to be really careful with the throttle, whereas this, you know, it's so linear, it's fantastic in that respect. So yeah, I highly recommend, you know, the SV line of bikes. Not that I've tried any of the others, but the engines are pretty much the same, so can't imagine there being a lot of difference. And it seems reliable enough. I haven't had any problems with it. Yeah, great little bike. Anyway, I've done with me ranting and raving and talking about the bike and stuff. So, if you've been watching on YouTube, thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you like the video. Obviously, if you don't like us, let us know as well with the unlike button. I personally don't care, because I don't do this for money or anything like that. So your opinion, So it's your opinion, you know, it's nice to hear your opinion if you want it. Subscribe if you want, hit the subscribe button, and hopefully I'll see you again, and hopefully it'll be with wonderful weather like this. So, take care everybody, adios.